Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative Headline News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, efforts to restore the Sangre Grande Post Office are continuing, with the Ministry of Public Utilities moving to secure the funding needed to restart construction. This is wonderful news. I've always hoped and prayed that that would take place, and it wasn't good. No government was going to leave that building abandoned like that, which is an eyesore to our district or region in Sangre Grande here. And I was hoping that they would renovate it at some point in time, or to restore it at some point in time. And the PNM said that they were going to do it. I don't know if they would actually have done it, or if years would have passed and they would have just keep making the promise. But once UNC says they're going to do something, well, you know for sure it's going to happen, most likely. Speaking in the House of Representatives on Friday, Minister of Public Utilities Barry Padarath confirmed that the restoration, which began under the previous administration, remains a priority project. Now, listen, when he says that it began under the previous administration, it was just a ribbon cutting, you know. They just said they were going to do it. PNM didn't start anything whatsoever, not one thing, not one attempt to repair that building, to rebuild that building, to restore that building, nothing. They just went during election period. I live in Grande, so I can tell you that. I saw when it was taking place. And they went and they had this big announcement and stuff like that, and they cut ribbon and things like that, and that was that. But then, of course, people say, but then they lost the elections. Yes, but I'm just saying, nothing was ever done on it, because when they made the announcement, it was during an election season. Minister of Public Utilities Barry Padarath has confirmed that government is moving ahead with the restoration of the Sangre Grande Post Office, which commenced under the previous administration. My response, yes, PNM Patriots, we know that you announced the restoration of the Sangre Grande Post Office after it was left abandoned for 9.5 years, and I saw to our area. You waited until election season last year to make the announcement, but still lost that constituency. And Sangre Grande, Toko Sangre Grande tends to lean on the PNM side. It's basically a PNM stronghold to an extent, but it is actually a needed constituency for UNC to win most of the times. And this is why I hope the Kamala Prasad administration focuses a whole lot more on that constituency. I honestly don't believe that Wayne Sturge was the appropriate man. Andy Williams of Ground Report would have been a much better MP for this Toko Sangre Grande area. I'm Kobuto Manzanella, and my area is usually UNCs. I'm not really bothered. But you see the Toko Sangre Grande, that is usually it's a marginal seat, people. A marginal seat that usually leans on the PNM side. And therefore, you have to make sure and serve them well. Thus far, Wayne Sturge, nah. He continues to just, I don't know what he is really doing. Honestly speaking, they could have gotten a much better representative for that constituency.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Public Utilities is working closely with the Ministry of Finance for funding to facilitate contractor mobilization and the provision of advance payments. These funds will also address outstanding procurement-related expenses incurred during fiscal 2025.
The minister noted that an additional $4 million will be sought to keep construction moving once work resumes.
The project, which carries a duration of 9 months, is anticipated to commence in May to June 2026. Further demonstrating its priority status, an additional $4 million will be sought at the appropriate time to sustain construction progress, with the remaining balance to be secured in fiscal year 2027.
Addressing concerns about the reallocation of funds, the minister said the government has had to make difficult choices, focusing on urgent issues directly affecting citizens.
The Ministry of Public Utilities was left with mounting debt. It was left with areas that were unaddressed, particularly in the area of water. And therefore, what we have had to do is take a look at reallocating some of what was initially appropriated, and therefore prioritize things that directly impacted people in their homes and people in their pockets.
The minister was speaking during Friday's sitting of the House of Representatives. Faith Cheriot, TTT News.
Over 1,300 turtles come ashore in Las Cuevas since the season started. Las Cuevas is seeing a high level of leatherback nesting right now. Over the past few days, more than 300 turtles have come ashore, bringing the total for the season to over 1,300 on this beach. I would love to go and see it. I don't know. My family, sisters, and we probably want to have a lime soon. Let me go, man. We go and check it out. Similar activity is being observed at other nesting sites across Trinidad and Tobago. This is an important period for the species, and continued care and respect are essential. If you are visiting, like how I want to visit, please keep your distance, avoid lights and flash photography, and follow the guidance of the wardens on site.
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago on Saturday, May 2, 2026. Saturday will be fair to partly cloudy with a maximum temperature around 31 degrees Celsius to 33 degrees Celsius and a minimum near 23 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. Expect medium 40%, chances of brief showers, primarily favoring hilly and western areas of Trinidad. Regional details: Trinidad, generally fair conditions interrupted by brief, partly cloudy spells and showers. There is a medium 40% chance of afternoon showers, particularly in hilly and western areas. Tobago, expected to be hot and sunny with occasional partly cloudy spells and localized showers during the afternoon. Marine conditions: seas are forecast to be slight to moderate, with open water waves ranging from 1.0 meters to 1.5 meters and sheltered areas remaining between 0.5 meters to 1.0 meters. Sun and hazards: the UV index is very high at 10, so protection is recommended. A mild to moderate concentration of Saharan dust may be present in the atmosphere.
Regional news now: advancing its mandate to increase disposable income. The Guyanese government has successfully distributed the $100,000 national cash grant to 289,565 citizens as of April 30th, 2026. A lot of those who opposed the government were saying, oh, nobody was ever going to receive the money and all kind of nonsense. Senior Finance Minister Dr. Ashley Singh confirmed that this milestone represents a massive $29 billion injection into the local economy to assist even stimulate it even more, with approximately 92% of recipients totaling 265,281 individuals receiving their payments directly via bank transfers. The digital-first approach, a cornerstone of the Ministry of Finance strategy, aims to enhance financial inclusion while ensuring a transparent and efficient rollout of the largest household support initiative in the nation's history. Despite the rapid distribution, the government continues to mobilize staff to reach eligible residents in hinterland regions where they probably don't have banking, personal banking and internet access and stuff like that. So hinterland regions who lack traditional banking access, ensuring no citizen is left behind in this nationwide economic stimulus. Wonderful news coming out from Guyana under the Irfan Ali administration. In a strategic push for digital acceleration, Stephen Price, Vice President and General Manager of Flow Jamaica, has thrown his full weight behind the proposed establishment of the National Regulatory Reform Authority to streamline the country's telecommunication landscape. Speaking during a recent industry forum, Price emphasized that Jamaica must urgently dismantle the bureaucratic bottlenecks and fragmented permit processes that currently delay the deployment of critical fiber optic and mobile infrastructure. By centralizing oversight and harmonizing regulations, the telecom executive argues the new authority will catalyze national productivity and bridge the digital divide, ensuring that the private sector can meet the government's ambitious goals for a fully integrated, high-speed digital economy. In a commitment to national economic sovereignty, Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday has emphasized that St. Vincent and the Grenadines' upcoming fiscal reforms will be strictly homegrown, prioritizing internal stability over externally imposed mandates. Addressing the nation during a recent economic summit, the Prime Minister asserted that the strategy is specifically engineered to shield the most vulnerable citizens from the twin pressures of volatile global oil prices and persistent inflation. By focusing on targeted social safety nets and local production incentives, the administration aims to stabilize the cost of living while maintaining fiscal discipline, ensuring that the country's path to recovery remains resilient against international market shocks, without compromising the welfare of low-income households, protecting the most vulnerable in your society. Just like what Kamala Persad does here in Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I said. That regime there is really doing quite well, and I hope that he wins his legal case in court. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has announced that public sector regrading exercises will begin within the next few weeks, with wage negotiations to follow for the next 3 years. She said the current term is not solely focused on wages, but also expanding ownership and encouraging Barbadians to invest. That, of course, will help assist boost the economy, to stimulate the economy. She made the remarks on Friday at the National Botanical Gardens during the Barbados Workers Union picnic. Family affairs, I keep saying. I don't agree with how she's addressing issues when it pertains to communism and socialism in the region, and aligning herself closely with the Delcy Rodriguez regime, staying silent while Delcy Rodriguez claims the Essequibo as her own, or the Venezuela's territory. But she's doing a good job in Barbados.
We know that the regrading in the public service is now upon us. We will start and review the work of the committee in the next 2 weeks, and to the extent then that we start the negotiations with the various bodies across the public sector, your union, the NUPW, the Registered Nurses Association, all of the entities, Police Association, etc., so that we have compacts for the regrading where possible, and also to start, once we settle the regrading, the wage negotiations going forward for the next 3 years. But beyond that, you have heard me say that for us, this term is not only about putting money in your pocket in terms of what you earn for wages or salaries. This term must be about making Bajans owners. The government is very, very clear that there are a number of investment opportunities separate from your workplace empowerment that, depending on the particular entity, we can discuss which one is appropriate for enfranchisement and which one is not. We have publicly said that we feel the transport sector is one, and we will have the discussions with you for that. But we also believe that instead of us going to a handful of institutional investors in the country alone, or going outside of Barbados as we must, because the scale of what we need to raise an investment is more than what we can do alone on our own, from water plants to photovoltaic to wind farm to battery storage to data centers. All of these things will constitute over $1 billion in investment. And we are simply saying that while each of the individual workers may feel intimidated in understanding this can work or this ain't gonna work, that we can create systems to help show you that nobody should put all their eggs in one basket.
Moody's ratings officially upgraded the Bahamas long-term issuer and senior unsecured ratings to Ba3 from B1 on April 30th, 2026, citing a sustained strengthening in fiscal performance and a significantly improved liquidity profile. Why announce that now during the election, though? But anyhow, good news. The agency's report attributes this positive shift to the administration's aggressive fiscal consolidation, robust tourism activity, and tighter tax enforcement. They are telling you the world is just taxes, but the taxes, you cannot use taxes to actually boost an economy or recover an economy though. Which have collectively placed government debt on a clear downward trajectory. And that's all these organizations and bodies think about the government debt itself. They don't care about the burdens that taxes, when you impose more taxes, the burdens it places on an economy and the citizens themselves. This upgrade, complemented by a transition to a stable outlook, reflects growing international confidence following the country's successful return to capital markets and a strategic move toward more congressional long-term financing. While some local financial analysts caution that the country remains several notches below investment grade, the revision underscores a pivotal recovery from the dual economic shocks of Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, on to some other news tonight. Following news by the international credit rating agency Moody's that the nation is slightly better off financially than it was last year. Our Danielle Dean speaking with a local financial expert who provided this breakdown of the assessment.
The Bahamas is getting a vote of confidence tonight from Moody's credit rating agency, with an upgrade to the country's credit rating signaling stronger financial stability and improved ability to manage its debt. The country moving from B1 to BA3, a step closer to investment grade. Commercial diplomat Edson Sumner reacting to the upgrade.
Moody's decision, in my view, to raise the Bahamas' long-term issuer and senior unsecured ratings from a B1 to a BA3 essentially signals a strong vote of confidence in the country's fiscal management and economic prospects. The upgrade reflects tangible progress in reducing government debt and improving fiscal discipline.
But here's the reality. Who really feels this first? Not the average Bahamian, at least not right away. Experts would argue that the government and investors benefit first, as the country is now seen as less risky to lend to, potentially lowering borrowing costs over time. That could free up funds for public services and support future investment and jobs. The report credits strong tourism, better tax collection, and controlled spending.
The government is generally generating enough revenue to cover its operating expenses without the need to borrow more money, which is in large part due to higher, tighter tax enforcement measures, while we are looking at also controlled or measured spending.
But Sumner warns challenges still remain.
Despite these positive developments, the Bahamas remains below the investment grade. And what this means is that while the country's credit profile is improving, it still carries some risk that investors may consider. The stable outlook suggests that Moody's expects these positive trends to continue, but without any rapid further increases or upgrades in the near term.
And while the country may be doing better on paper, as many Bahamians would tell it, the cost of living still tells a different story. Danielle Dean, Eyewitness News.
International news now. In recent remarks outlining his administration's maximum pressure campaign, President Trump asserted that internal desperation has brought Iran to the brink of comprehensive diplomatic surrender, claiming that everyone in Iran wants to make a deal, including the country's hardline leadership. Now, yeah, they will try to give you the impression as though they want to make a deal. But it's always going to be full of deception, President Trump. And they're always going to try to include stuff in that deal that you're not going to agree with, number one. And even if they pretend to agree with all your conditions, they're going to go behind your backs and still try to build nukes. That's just the reality, people. They have been indoctrinated since they themselves were growing up to believe that it's their duty to bring a nation, a worldwide jihad into place so that their Messiah can come and destroy all the infidels on earth. They're not going to give up. They're never going to give up unless they're forced to do so. The president characterized the Islamic Republic's military capabilities as virtually non-existent, stating that the nation possesses no Navy, no Air Force, and no aircraft capacity to resist American strength. He's correct about that, contrary to what these mainstream media like CNN and the Kakash media here in Trinidad and Tobago try to imply. By highlighting this perceived military obsolescence and the crippling effects of renewed economic sanctions, the administration is signaling a position of total leverage intended to force Tehran into a new, more restrictive agreement. It may work to that extent, as I tell you. They might pretend as though they're agreeing to something, but they're never going to actually do it. They're never going to abide by whatever that agreement stipulates.
I'm dealing with some quite brutal people right now in the lovely country of Iran. They are very brutal, and I will tell you, we're doing very well. You cannot give Iran a nuclear weapon. It's all, I think. Because they would use it on a place called Israel very quickly, and they would use it in the Middle East, and they'd use it in Europe, and I guess we'd be next, and it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. We've taken apart. We've taken their air forces, non-existent. It's gone. Their Navy, they had a very strong Navy. They had the strongest Navy by far in the Middle East, many times over. They have 159 ships. Every single ship is at the bottom of the sea right now. They have no anti-aircraft capacity. They have no radar. They have no leaders. Actually, their leaders are all gone, too. It's part of our problem. We don't know who the hell we're dealing with. They call up, this is Mohammed so-and-so, and I say, are you a leader? We're looking for a leader. It's the only country in the world. Nobody wants to be a leader. You know, they say, would anybody like to be president? And there are no takers. But I think we're doing a great job over there, actually. We have they used the Hormuz Strait as a weapon for many, many years. They said they'll close it. So they closed it. Then I closed it on them, which is sort of, they want a little business. They get no business. But it's going to work out because everything works out.
Thousands of demonstrators recently flooded South Africa's major cities, including Johannesburg and Pretoria, to demand the immediate deportation of undocumented migrants. I wonder if the radical left and the BLM in America and here in Trinidad and Tobago and the tribal Caribbean will say, these protests are racist. Huh? Nah, you see, whites are held at a different standard, just like how Jews are held at a different standard, just like how UNC is held at a different standard. UNC can't do certain things that PNM could do. Whites can't do certain things and protest about illegal immigration the way Africans can do in Africa. I tell you, it's double standards in this entire world nowadays. Organized by grassroots movements in Operation Dudula and Action SA, which I guess is Action South Africa, the marchers argued that illegal immigration has crippled the nation's economy by displacing local workers and overwhelming already strained healthcare and housing sectors. Doesn't that sound exactly what Americans have been saying? But when Americans say it, it's racist. With unemployment nearing 32%, these protesters are calling for citizens first. America first. When they say America first, it's racist. Africa saying citizens first, no problem with that. So if citizens first mandate pressuring the government to move beyond promised border technology upgrades toward more aggressive enforcement and mass removals. Mass what removals? But anyhow, but I believe in doing it in a humane way, though. Don't get me wrong. Do it in a humane way. And I believe that you could try to be able to allow to remain as well, especially if they have been significantly contributing to the economy. This mobilization underscores a hardening national sentiment that views unchecked migration as a primary threat to South Africa's social stability and resource security.
Welcome to Real Conservative. Headline News Travel Adventures. Virunga National Park, located in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, stands as one of the most biologically diverse and breathtaking protected areas on the planet. Established in 1925 as Africa's first national park, it encompasses nearly 8,000 square kilometers of varied landscapes, ranging from the snow-capped Rwenzori Mountains to lush rainforests and vast savannas. It is famously known as a land of fire and ice, where tropical greenery meets the glowing lava lakes of active volcanoes like Mount Nyiragongo. The park is a vital sanctuary for an incredible array of wildlife, most notably the endangered mountain gorilla. Travelers from around the world journey to the Makino sector for the rare privilege of observing these majestic creatures in their natural habitat. Beyond gorillas, the park is home to chimpanzees, forest elephants, and a rich variety of birdlife. The Central Plains offer a more traditional safari experience where lions and hippos roam near the banks of Lake Edward. Visiting Virunga is an adventure that requires careful planning. Most travelers access the park through the border town of Goma, often arriving from Rwanda. Because of the rugged terrain and the park's commitment to conservation and safety, all excursions, including volcano treks and gorilla tracking, are led by highly trained park rangers. Whether witnessing the sunrise over the Virunga Massif or listening to the sounds of the jungle at Makino Lodge, a journey here offers a profound connection to the natural world in its most wild and pristine form. Underscore 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 underscore. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you again tomorrow as our journey around the world continues. Interesting facts and inspirational true stories. A couple in eastern China were stunned when their daughter, Guozhang, began developing bright blue eyes, curly blonde hair, and more Western-looking features as she grew. Worried there had been a hospital mix-up, the family ordered multiple DNA tests, which confirmed she was their biological child. Later, they traced their family history and found a Russian ancestor several generations back. Experts say hidden genes can stay dormant for decades, then suddenly reappear in future generations. It's a fascinating real-life example of how unpredictable genetics can be. Bible quote of the day. 2 Samuel 7:24-28. You have established your people Israel as your very own forever, and you, Lord, have become their God. And now, Lord God, keep forever the promise you have made concerning your servant and his house. Do as you promised, so that your name will be great forever. Then people will say, the Lord Almighty is God over Israel. And the house of your servant David will be established in your sight. Lord Almighty, God of Israel, you have revealed this to your servant, saying, I will build a house for you. So your servant has found courage to pray this prayer to you. Sovereign Lord, you are God. Your covenant is trustworthy, and you have promised these good things to your servant.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's headline news. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.